Thanks to our friend who supported the channel financially in the previous video. And before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and support the channel financially. The doppelganger. Her body disintegrated into powder and vanished, and black smoke rose from the spot where the body had disappeared, forming a human shape. The creature inquired, "How did you know? My disguise was perfect." Ryu laughed openly at the creature speaking fluent Korean, and he said, "A monster trying to talk to humans. Ridiculous." The creature said, "Monster? You humans who invade my territory are the real monsters." Ryu shouted, "Shut up and fight, monster scum." The creature said, "You have a bad mouth, human." At that moment, a quest window popped up before Ryu. Plus condition: break the doppelganger's trap and face its true form. You have completed the subquest. Points plus 2,000. Plus condition: watch the doppelganger kill other prey. Plus current prey killed by the doppelganger, 0 out of 10. Plus condition: kill the doppelganger yourself. The subquest also appeared for Ju Seong Tak, who stared at it in the air. Then Ryu said, "Ju Seong Tak, run." With that, Ryu sprang into action. Realizing the plan, Ju Seong Tak quickly followed his master. The doppelganger's form flew through the air, pursuing them, and it said, "Where do you think you're going, humans?" Seeing them flee suddenly, it mocked them. "Did you have a change of heart? Where did your act go, filthy humans?" Ryu focused on running through the labyrinth. The doppelganger's form said, "You think you can escape my domain?" Ryu wanted to say yes, but held back. He needed to lure the doppelganger properly, and he said to himself, "To be honest, the doppelganger is slow, really slow. Though it floated, it wasn't fast enough to catch up with a running player. He could easily shake it off if he wanted, but he kept a tantalizingly close pace on purpose. He had to complete the quest and feed the doppelganger. Ryu said to himself, "The labyrinth will shift soon. I need to lure it to that spot." Ryu checked their position and stopped at a specific place with Ju Seong Tak. The doppelganger sneered, "What now? Have you given up after running like rats?" But suddenly, the labyrinth shifted. In an instant, they were facing new people. It was none other than the Black Society group. Amidst the confusion, only the doppelganger's form lengthened its mouth into a grin, and it said, "Oh, what's this? More prey? Delightful." As expected, the doppelganger was pleased to find itself amidst the Chinese group, and it said, "Then, let's dig in." Shizukhan was taken aback. It was fortunate that 2 Asians suddenly appeared in front of him, but the problem was that his subordinates were dying. In an instant, 3 of his subordinates were dead. It was clear that the black figure was the cause. Shizukhan inquired, "What the hell is that thing?" Although he wasn't sure, it seemed to be a ghost-like entity. For now, he needed to deal with this urgent situation, and he said, "What are you all standing around for? That black figure is the cause. Kill it!" But seeing the familiar face of their comrade frantically waving his hands, they hesitated to swing their swords. But that brief hesitation determined life and death. Chen Fu, now with a sinister smile, had impaled their throats without hesitation, and he said, "Heh, idiots, falling for such a simple trick. Humans are all so weak." The doppelganger continued to kill Shizukhan's subordinates, turning them into grotesque corpses. Shizukhan's face turned pale, and he said to himself, "How are we supposed to kill this thing? It doesn't take any damage." Realizing they had no chance of winning, Shizukhan attempted to flee, but Ryu stood in his way, wielding his scythe. And he inquired, "Where do you think you're going?" Shizukhan shouted, "Who the hell are you? Move aside," Ryu said. "Aren't you here looking for me?" Shizukhan inquired. "And who are you?" Ryu smirked, casually swinging his scythe over his shoulder, and said, "Can't you tell? It's me, Black Scythe." Shizukhan carefully observed the opponent who claimed to be the Black Scythe, and he said to himself, "Black Scythe? He's a Korean player carrying a scythe, just like his nickname." However, he had never seen him in person before, so he couldn't help but be skeptical. Then he asked, "Are you really the Black Scythe?" But suddenly he heard his subordinate who said, "Shizukhanim! Ah!" Right behind him, his subordinates were dying in desperate agony. Shizukhan abruptly turned his head, and he shouted, "Hey, you bastard! Move out of the way!" Ryu smirked and said, "Why don't you stop talking and come at me? Why just stand there? "Are you scared?" Though his opponent was taunting him, Shizukhan couldn't recklessly charge forward, and he said to himself, if that guy is really the Black Scythe, could I take him on in a one-on-one fight against the level 90 Black Scythe? Because of this thought, he couldn't act rashly, but the sound of a neck snapping brought silence to the surroundings. When Shizukhan turned around, he saw that all his subordinates were dead, and the black figure was smiling like a human. Shizukhan said to himself, "Damn it, I've wasted time because of this bastard." Shizukhan's gaze turned to the man blocking his path. Now he had no choice. There was no retreat. With enemies in front and behind, he had to break through one side, and he said to himself, if I have to bet on one side, I'll target that bastard who claims to be the Black Scythe. Shizukhan's eyes gleamed with determination, and he said to himself, he might not really be the Black Scythe, he might be surprisingly weak. I had to kill this so-called Black Scythe and break through this crisis. Then Shizukhan used his skill, Blood Grasp. When he stretched out his hand, a giant hand stained with blood grasped the Black Scythe. Shizukhan said to himself, got him, it's over. If I can just pull him in, I'll crush his head. Just as Shizukhan was about to finish his thought, he was stunned. The Blood Grasp held the enemy firmly, but wasn't pulling him in. Shizukhan asked himself, what's this? Why isn't it working? Upon closer inspection, it wasn't that the hand was still. The grasping hand was trembling, straining to pull the enemy in. Despite the skill's description stating it would draw the enemy in, it was ineffective. And he inquired, what's going on? Why isn't the skill working? But he recalled there were times before when he couldn't pull an enemy in, as opponents with high-strength stats could resist and break free with their strength. Shizukhan asked himself, is that bastard resisting my skill with pure strength? Seeing the Black Scythe held by the giant hand without moving an inch, Shizukhan was shocked, and he inquired, how high is his strength? As the grasp naturally dissolved due to the time limit, the Black Scythe let out a small laugh and said, why are you so surprised? Of course it won't work, even though I don't have the blessing. Shizukhan inquired, blessing? What nonsense are you talking about? Ryu said, not important. The Black Scythe, sneering, put his scythe into his inventory. Shizukhan inquired, what are you doing? Ryu smirked and said, giving you some hope. He inquired, what? Ryu said, I won't use any weapons or skills. Come at me with everything you've got. Shizukhan said to himself, this bastard. It wasn't enough that he blocked my escape. Now he was mocking me. In this situation, if Shizukhan didn't feel humiliated, he wasn't a man. Shizukhan said, fine, I'll grant your wish and kill you. Then he used the Berserker's level 40 skill, Blood Aura. The sword's body was stained red, and the more blood scattered around, the darker and stronger the aura became, capable of cutting through steel like tofu. And it was a powerful buff skill that ignored the enemy's defense. But it was only useful if he could hit his opponent. Shizukhan angrily said, damn it, why can't I hit him? Why? Though he swung his sword like a madman, the Black Scythe dodged everything. It was as if he read the sword's path in advance, moving fluidly like water. Ryu said, Blood Aura is good. It's the inferior version of the Dark Knight's aura, but it's still useful. But if you can't hit, it's useless, isn't it? Shizukhan shouted. Shut up and die, you bastard, Ryu said. You should be the one to shut up. Then the Black Scythe attacked only once. It was a simple jab, but it was faster than a bullet, impossible to avoid, a strike beyond human ability. Shizukhan, spitting blood, tumbled on the ground in a disgraceful manner. His jaw dislocated, and he felt as if he had been hit dozens of times, his mind in a haze, and he inquired, what kind of jab? It was hard to believe that one jab could cause such devastation. Then Shizukhan shouted, you bastard! Ryu said, even with all your teeth knocked out, you still have the strength to curse? He shouted, I'll kill you! Though he realized the difference in power, his pride wouldn't let him yield. He was a leader and the face of the underworld. Yielding meant bringing shame to the underworld. Ryu said, this isn't the time for pride. He inquired, what? As Shizukhan turned, a doppelganger seeped into his body. Choking himself involuntarily, Shizukhan died with a cracking sound in less than 10 seconds. At that moment, the system message appeared. Condition: watch the doppelganger kill another prey. Current doppelganger's kills, 10 out of 10. You have completed the sub-quest, points plus 10,000. Ryu smirked as he confirmed the reward. A considerable amount of points have been added. It was twice the amount he would have gotten from directly killing the Chinese players. Ryu said, Ju Song-tak must have received the reward too, and all that remained now was to kill the doppelganger. Then the doppelganger stared at Ryu and asked, You fed me on purpose, didn't you? Why did you do it? Did you think I'd spare you if I felt good? Ryu sneered, gathering electricity at his fingertip, and he said, You seem mistaken. You're the one who should be begging for your life.